don't want to do anything to scare your children. That's the last thing we want to do. That's a direct order. Do it now.
He's been put down, ripped off, cut open. Now he's unleashed. The American insurgency starts now. This is Rusty Humphries, Rebellion Radio.
I have no idea what that dance was. Hey, how are you? Welcome. It is the Rusty Humphries Rebellion. I'm Rusty Humphries. And you are a deplorable, a proud deplorable, I'm guessing. And so I'd love for you to check in. Let me know who you are, where you are a deplorable from, and I'll try to get as many names in and say hi as much as we can. It's President's Day, so not a whole bunch. I did get a chance to do a couple of interesting things that I'll be sharing with you later on in the week. One, have you ever heard of Piff the Magic Dragon? He's my favorite comic / magician right now. Absolutely kills me. And did an exclusive interview with him that I'll be sharing with you tomorrow or Wednesday. But I had an opportunity on Friday to go and see a friend of mine who's running for Senate. Her name's Kelly Ward, and she's running for Senate in the state of Arizona. She got Rand Paul to come out and speak. And I'm going to play that speech and then a short interview I did with him afterwards. And I'm going to share that with you coming up in a couple of minutes. Let's just say hi. Leonardo is in Japan. How you doing? Chris is in Sholo, Arizona. Shirley is in Spokane Valley, Washington. Jack says, you look way better after a few days of rest. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Genevieve is there in New Jersey. George is in Maryland. Don is there watching. Let's see. Sharon is in Kansas. Barbara's in California. James in Chandler, Arizona, just down the street from me. Another James in Smashville, Tennessee. Barbara says, yes, knows who Piff the Magic Dragon is. Jack said, I thought it was Puff the Magic Dragon. No. Piff the Magic Dragon is I can't describe him. I'm going to have to share the video with you tomorrow or the next day. He's hysterical, and the interview we did was great. So that's coming up. I do want to just get right to it. Before I do, I want to remind you, please, to download the HearMeOut app. HearMeOut. Here, listen, me, out app. The HearMeOut app. Download it on your phone and follow me, Rusty Humphries. I put stuff up every day, a couple times a day. And I don't trust the major media. I don't trust these social media companies. And I have found a new one where we can communicate. It's like Twitter, but you talk. It's fun. It's interesting. It's easy to use. And I'm asking you to please do me a favor and follow me on the Hear Me Out app. Please. Okay? Rodney Lee Conover's there. He's in Facebook jail. What'd you do to get in Facebook jail, Rodney? And he loves Piff, don't we all? Piff is awesome. Sally is in Indiana. George is there. Thiago is in Smallville. Do me a favor. Share the video. Share it. Share the video. I'm going to play Rand Paul, an exclusive interview on him just a minute. So share the video so people can hear him. Okay? Pamela, you're in Tucson. You share the video. Jeremy, would you share the video? Fred, would you share the video? Jeremy's there in Champaign, Illinois. And Bill is in Pomona, California. Rodney Lee Conover is a great comedy writer. He's a great comic in his own right. He is a conservative. He's good friends with Ann Coulter and a bunch of great other conservatives. And he's doing a new show. And he said he posted a meme 3 years ago. And he's downloading Hear Me Out right now. Thank you, Rodney. I appreciate it. You posted a meme 3 years ago and you got in trouble? Really? It's like what now? Hashtag Facebook me too? All right. Who likes, I got a question before we get started. Do you like Rand Paul? If so, give me a thumbs up and hearts. If you don't like Rand Paul, give me the frowny face of the angry. I kind of want to get a quick vote here before I get started because I'm curious. I was surprised. One of my fellow hosts on Liberty One TV was like, yeah, I wouldn't go across the street to see that guy. I like Rand Paul. I think his stand up against Congress when he was the only one, he and Mike Lee stood up and said, hey, we're spending too much. I think that's something to be commended, don't you? Bill has shared the video. Tanya is in Sierra Vista, Arizona. Had to stop working after only 4 weeks of working. Oh, no. Hope you're okay. Genevieve shared the video. Tanya doesn't know who Piff the Magic Dragon is. Don't worry, you'll get it. Okay, we got lots of thumbs ups. We've got some frowny faces over here. And Rodney says Rand is a gentleman and so is his father. Okay, we're getting both. We're getting both ups and downs. Okay, I'm going to let you see the speech and then the interview, and then let's talk about what he had to say. Kelly Ward is the woman that's speaking. She's running for United States Senate. She ran against John McCain. She should have won. She's a classy woman. She's very conservative. She did not win, and now there's an open seat, and so she's running for it. And let's play a little bit of her interview. I'm curious, or her speech anyway, and then I'm curious to hear what you have to say about Kelly Ward and Rand Paul. Let's give her a go.
Through strength. And when America is strong, the world is a safer, better place.
Hold on.
And of course, our veterans. We have let our veterans down for far too long. We have dropped the ball again and again and again. We've actually used our veterans as a political football, both sides of the aisle. We have to stop talking and we have to start delivering on the promises that we made to our veterans. If we implement this America First agenda of securing the border, stopping illegal immigration, repealing Obamacare, fixing the tax code, balancing the budget, decreasing our spending, making sure we're strong militarily, and taking care of our veterans, we will make America great again.
By the way, I'm going to stop the video just for a second. All video problems and audio problems on this video is my fault, okay? All I had was my phone, and I shot the best I could, but there were people getting in the way, and I didn't have a good microphone. But you can still hear it. And I think Kelly Ward is very strong, a very strong candidate. And I would have no problem supporting her as we get closer to that election. All right, here we go.
I'm so thankful and grateful that you all are here to rally with Rand and rally with Ward. And we are going to work together. I'm not going to take any more time because I want you all to be able to hear Senator Paul, hear about what's going on in Washington, hear about how we're going to stop abuses that are happening, how we're going to bring some fiscal sanity to the table, and that we are going to make our country great. So without further ado, I want to introduce my friend, my fellow physician, Dr. Senator Rand Paul.
Give some thumbs ups. Give some thumbs up. Give some hearts. Come on. I want to see you. Let's get some.
Okay, guys, to get the engagement, you need to comment. Okay, we want to know what you're saying. Check in, comment. Let's let you hear what Rand Paul has to say. But let's let you share this video. Share it. Yes. Share it.
Race, and there's only one person in this race that I will endorse, and that's Kelly Ward. I think that I may be the most unpopular person. But I will tell you,
We love you!
that popularity in Washington is inversely to popularity at home. But do I need help? Absolutely. Do conservatives need help? Do we have a lot of fake conservatives up there? In 2009, I was coaching my son's baseball team, and I went down to the city square, and there were 800 people there, and I was just, amazed at how many people showed up, and it was a tea party. It's the first tea party in my hometown. And they were concerned about debt, big government, spending, a government involved in every fucking corner of their lives. And they voted against President Obama because he gave us $1 trillion annual deficits. Yeah. So last week, what happened? Anybody here ever been asked for money by a Republican? You remember conservative politics. We're going to stop President Obama and stop the deficits. We took the House. But you know what they then told you? We only control 1/2 of 1/3 of government, and we can't do it unless we control the Senate. So they asked you for more money, and they asked you for your vote again, and we got the Senate. So then we had all of the legislative branch, but we didn't have the presidency. But you know what happened when we had the House and the Senate? They said, we're going to vote to repeal Obamacare. That's what we promised. And we did. In 2015, again in 2015, we voted to repeal the most extensive repeal ever Republican voted for it.
If you agree with what Senator Paul's saying, let's see some hearts, some thumbs ups. Give us some comments. You agree with him?
We controlled all the branches of government, and we came up with the exact same bill. The exact same bill to repeal Obamacare. Some people went the other way. You may know a few of the people who went the other way. But you have to have people who truly believe what they truly believe. Obamacare is a nightmare because it takes control from the local community. It gets the government in between the doctor and the patient. And it's a disaster for all of us. It's increased the price of insurance in the individual market going up 25% a year over the last 6 or 7 years. It's a disaster. But Republicans have to have the courage to believe. They have to believe in freedom. They have to believe in the marketplace. And I told people what happened is weak knees, but also Republicans who had insufficient confidence in what made America great. It's one thing to say make America great again, yes. But what made America great in the first place? Freedom. Leaving us alone.
He's right. Whether you love Senator Rand Paul or not, he's right here.
You've heard fake news. You've heard of fake conservatives. But we also had fake Obamacare repeal. I called it Obamacare Light. They did it behind closed doors. And I don't know if you remember, but I got my copying machine. My copying machine has its own Twitter handle. And we followed down the halls looking for the Obamacare Light bill. Oh, the one that Martha McSally voted.
Martha McSally is running against Kelly Ward.
Stand up there. If they do not have the courage of their convictions, they will be a rubber stamp for leadership. This is going to be a battle of conservative versus the establishment. And believe me,
you agree?
all of the big money people, everybody that thinks they can control and buy your vote, everybody that wants the status quo because they can make a little more money, even if the country goes to hell in a handbasket, they're all in on the establishment side. It's going to take an enormous amount of work, but I promise you, if you get Martha McSpender, so we had Obamacare Light. McSally's on the wrong side of that. She's for Obamacare Light. I'm for repeal. I voted for the complete repeal. I voted for all the repeals. But I did not vote to replace it with big government. I put my own bill forward, which was a replacement, and I said, let's replace it with freedom. Let's replace it with a marketplace. Let's replace it with you being able to save money tax-free in a health savings account so you can make the decisions on your insurance and you can buy less expensive insurance. Let's let you join an association across state lines and get cheaper insurance. That was in my replacement.
I can't disagree with what he's saying here tonight. Not that I agree with all of it. You? Thumbs up, let me know.
The repeal of Obamacare failed. Not because of Democrats, but because of Republicans. Republicans in name only, and you've got one of them running in your Senate primary, and that's why if you elect the establishment candidate, you're going to get more of the same. You need someone with the courage of her convictions. Dr. Ward, I believe, with all of my being, will go up there, and she will not be afraid of the establishment, and they will not boss her around, and they will not tell her what to do.
And see, we need that kind of person, whether it's Kelly Ward or in your state. We do need to get rid of these establishment Republicans.
Obamacare Light. Martha McSpender was for it. We have a vote last week, and it's on the deck. And now it's Republicans in charge of the spending bill. They bust the budget caps. We have spending caps because we're trying to preserve the country. We're borrowing almost $2 million a minute. Last year, the debt was about $800 billion. Next year, it's going to be over $1 trillion. So people ask me, well, what is a billion? How big is a billion? What does that mean? And I said, well, let's start with a million. If you want to know how big a million is, you put $100 bills in your hand, about 4 inches high, and you have $1 million. But you try to imagine a billion. How big is a billion? What is a billion? Well, a billion seconds ago, Elvis was alive. A billion minutes ago, Jesus was alive. A billion hours ago was the Stone Age. But $1 billion ago, at the rate the government spends it, was 2 hours and 5 minutes ago. You have a government that is literally out of control everywhere. And then some of them will say, well, it's all entitlement spending. Well, yes, 2/3 of it's entitlement spending. But they'll tell you, oh, I'm not going to vote to control any of the rest of the spending because it's all just the problem of entitlements. And then you say, do you have a bill to control entitlement spending, and will you vote for it? Oh, no. Oh, no. In fact, that was part of the problem on the Obamacare repeals. We were trying to do Medicaid reform. And you know what the media told you? They said they're going to slash Medicaid. They're going to cut Medicaid. Poor people won't have any health care. No, it was slowing down the rate of growth. Medicaid was still going to be bigger in 10 years, but it was slowing down the rate of growth from this to this. And you have to do that. Not because you lack compassion, but because you have compassion, and we will have nothing left for the poor or anybody else if we run the country into the ground, into insolvency. It's the same with the military. My dad served in the military. I had 3 nephews in the military. My father-in-law was in the military for 20 years. I have nothing but respect and nothing but the greatest belief that this is the #1 priority is national defense, but yet we can't have a blank check for the military either. We have to.
Let's see some applauses from you guys. And some thumbs ups and some hearts instead of a ball.
Spending all this money came up. It's going to be $1 trillion deficit. So I went to the floor, and this is when I became even less popular. Good job. The only ally that came to the floor, there was no Kelly Ward. There was no Martha McSpender to be seen anywhere. Mike Lee from Utah came to the floor with me. It was Mike and I were the only ones standing up and saying, enough's enough. We were going to ruin the country if we do this.
All right, do you support this speech? Do you like what he's saying? Let us know. Comment here on the Russ Humphries Facebook page. Thumbs up.
Believe in the Second Amendment. All of us here believe in the First Amendment. But you can't have the First Amendment or the Second Amendment protected unless you believe in the Fourth Amendment. The Fourth Amendment was so important that John Adams said that it was the spark that led to the revolution. The spark was that the king was writing general warrants. He was saying, I suspect someone in Phoenix, and so he wrote a warrant, a general warrant, not literally, but it was for the colonies, saying that they would look at everybody's records. So our Fourth Amendment says they have to name you. The government can still look at your records. If they suspect you, they name you. They have to have probable cause. They have to ask for specific things, and they can get your records. I'm okay with the Fourth Amendment, with the government looking at it if they have suspicion and go to a judge, and the judge approves it. But you need that check and balance. You need a judge saying that. Why? I'll give you 2 names, and you should understand why you should have a judge. Peter Strzok.
Amen, Brother Rand. Amen.
You're watching Senator Rand Paul at a rally in Phoenix, Arizona.
Madison said that men are not angels. And when he said that, he was justifying why we have these checks and balances of a legislative branch, a president. They can check and balance each other in a court system. And yet these checks and balances aren't working. There's this data collected under FISA, which is called the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. I'm actually okay with it. If you want to spy on people who might attack us, they actually don't get the Constitution. They don't get the Bill of Rights. If you were in Libya today and you're plotting against us, you do not get the Fourth Amendment. That's just the way it is. And so that's fine. We collect their information. The problem comes if they talk to someone here, or if you're a journalist, and I tell the journalists all this time, if you're a journalist for a major news network, Fox, CNN, MSNBC, and they call their reporters overseas, guess what? They've now talked to someone overseas, and if they mention in their communications someone who might be a target. So let's say you're doing a story on ISIS, and you mention ISIS. Well, now you've mentioned a foreign target. If any of you email anybody overseas and you mention ISIS, now you're going to be collecting what's called about collection. You've talked about foreign targets, so you're in there. The president's in there. President Obama's in there 1,500 times. And they say, oh, he was masked. Well, how hard is it to, one, recognize the president's voice if you listen to it? And how hard is it also to know that if someone's talking to Putin or talking to the Xi Jinping, the president of China, how hard is it to know only a few people talk to them? But when they're talking to them, those conversations need to be private. If I talk to a foreign leader, it needs to be private. If any of you talk to a relative, or any of you are journalists, it needs to be private. But this database now has millions and millions of Americans incidentally or accidentally in it. What is the problem? Peter Strzok, Lisa Page.
Lock them up.
I sent a note to the FBI director last week, and I asked him this. I said, can Peter Strzok and Lisa Page still search the database? The one that I think you should have a judge's warrant to search, and they didn't allow this to happen. He hasn't responded to me, but my guess is if they still work at the FBI, they can still search it. So what could they say? Oh, you gave money to Kelly Ward. Maybe we want to see what else you're doing. Or, and it's even worse than that, General Flynn, they listened to his conversation. Then they brought him in for an interview, and they caught him saying something inconsistent with his conversation. How many people want every conversation you've ever had listened to by the government, and then you're interviewed, and if you say something inconsistent with your phone call, you go to jail? What a terrible rotten world that would be. And push came to shove, and there was a vote whether or not we should have real reform, not fake reform, but real reform, where a judge would have to get a warrant before he searched a database. Martha McSpender was on the other side saying no real reform. This is a problem. Kelly will be with us on privacy in the Fourth Amendment and the Second Amendment. I don't want to kid you. This is an important race. Kelly has one of the best chances of winning of any Liberty candidate. And I don't want to kid you that it will be easy. I've been talking to people in Arizona. I've been calling some of the people who are the big muckety mucks, and they're lining up in the other direction. It's only going to happen if the grassroots decides that enough is enough. They did in the presidential election. Everybody said he couldn't win, and lo and behold, he did win. But it's going to take something shocking and surprising like that to happen. Kelly's going to have to work very hard, but you will also have to work hard. If you're willing to just give up and let the establishment win, if you're willing just to have trillion-dollar annual deficits, where the government can search your records without a warrant, where Obamacare Light is the best we can do, just stay home and do nothing. But if you really want and prize your freedom, you really believe that this is the greatest country. Was founded and is exceptional in every way, not because of who we are, the color of our skin, but because of the ideas and what our country was founded upon. If you believe that, rise up, tell your neighbors, cheer Kelly on, knock on doors, give her money, and we'll go real high.
Okay. So that was Senator Rand Paul on Friday here in Arizona, and I did an exclusive interview with him, and I'll play that for you in just a couple of minutes. It's not a long one. He was kind of in a hurry and rushing out the door. So here's, first of all, my question to you. What did you think of Senator Paul's speech? What did you think of what he had to say? And if you were not a fan of Senator Rand Paul's, did he make sense to you? Or, well, that guy's just awful. I'm very curious. I want to know. Comment right now. Would you please share the video? And I'm going to play the exclusive interview I had with him coming up in just a minute. I want to remind you, as you're typing and you're sharing and you're giving the hearts and the thumbs ups, all of those things are so important because we have to go around the Facebook algorithm that is censoring and squashing conservative speech like that. And we can't do it unless you share it. You share it. It is so important. Even if only 10, 15 people see your video share, it makes a difference. It adds up. Everything makes a difference right now. So please, thumbs up, hearts, shares, comment right now. Greg is watching. Greg, old friend of mine. Greg, good to see you. Sandra has shared the video. Donald thinks Rand Paul is a really stand-up guy. George says, I like him better than during the election. Shanice said, Rusty, did you know that when they listen in on your phone calls, they are listening for keywords and they auto put you on a watch list that you don't even know about? Yeah, well, I figured I'm probably on that list because I did some interviews with terrorists years and years ago. I played the interview unedited, so anything that was said on the phone, the audience got a chance to hear, but I assume I'm probably on a list there. By the way, would you do me a favor? It's so important. If you haven't done it yet, would you please download that Hear Me Out app and follow me? It's an app you download on your phone. It doesn't cost anything. We know that these major social media companies are censoring our speech. They are not allowing you to see and hear as you've been able to. I'm talking about they have cut out 90% of the audience or more for most conservative sites. So I'm asking you to go to a news site, the Hear Me Out app. It's like Twitter, except you talk. I am on there. Please follow me, and you'll be able to hear my updates. If something happens, you'll know exactly what's going on, and you can communicate too. It's very, very easy to use, and it's fun too, and it's new, and so we have an opportunity to really have an impact on this app as it's growing. So again, it's called the Hear Me Out app. Free, download it for your iPhone or for your Android. All right, who else? Comments. Herman says, yes, I don't like him, but what he did say made sense. Thank you, Herman. Let's see here. Pamela says, I really like Kelly Ward. I like Kelly Ward, too. She's awesome. Matter of fact, I'm going to have her on the show in the next few days. I talked to her at the rally, said we got to have you in the show, and she was excited about that. Donna is a veteran and a Florida panhandle deplorable. How you doing, Donna? Deborah is there. Darlene says, Rand Paul is my senator, and I really appreciate his stand on the growth of government and the government spending. Common sense is what he's all about. Thank you. Johnny says Rand Paul is making solid comments. Judy says, well, he makes sense. Shanice says he makes a lot of sense. Michael says, always share from Fredericksburg, Virginia, Rusty. Michael, you rock. Yeah, Michael rocks. Everybody who shares rocks. You rock if you share. If you don't share, you don't rock. Just saying. Okay, I don't make up the rules. I'm just telling you. If you share the video and you tell people about it and you comment, you rock. If you don't, I like you. You're nice. You're pretty good, but you don't officially rock. So I would like you to officially rock by sharing the video, making a comment, thumbs up and hearting, and let's get this thing out there. Rob is there. How you doing, Rob? Anne Marie is there. Kara says, we patriots are considered the enemy now by progressives today. That's true. Kara says, so we're probably all being listened in on. Maybe. Donald says, I shared. I always do almost. Thank you. Rodney says, love Rand Paul, but he's an eye doctor. Couldn't he see his neighbor sneaking up on him? Hey-oh, bunch. I wanted to ask him about it, but I didn't. He doesn't look like, and you'll see this, he does not look like a guy with a sense of humor. I mean, none. It's kind of like feeling him out. I always like to have interviews where I get serious, but have some humor in it, so you get kind of an idea of who the person is, especially a politician, where everything is scripted and they know what they're going to say in their talking points. I like to try to break them out of that mold. And sometimes people go, well, you're being too serious, you're being too funny with them. No, I'm trying to get you to see who this human being is as opposed to just some politician. But Rand Paul was hard to crack, my friend. Hard to crack. Tommy says, agree. My show on right-wing news, viewers down major. Yep. Share, friend, share. Thank you. Rob is a vet and a deplorable in Port Richey. Rand Paul is right, even though I'm 50-50 on him. 50-50. All right, so here's my interview with Rand Paul. It's not long because he didn't give me much time, but let you hear it here on the Rusty Humphries Rebellion. Let's do it.
Senator Rand Paul, good to see you.
Great to be with you.
By the way, a lot of our audience very proud of you, the stand with Rand, the big speech. How'd you feel about that?
Well, in Washington, I'm not so popular these days.
Yeah.
They were upset that I called them out on their hypocrisy. So many of these Republicans were against Obama's deficits. Mm-hmm. And I said, why aren't you still against deficits now that we're in charge? It's even more important that Republicans are putting forward an agenda. Why would we be putting forward budgets that have trillion-dollar deficits?
You gave a great example of what $1 trillion is. I mean, it's not that much, is it?
Well, our government now borrows almost $2 million a minute. So it's really alarming what we're spending money on. And I didn't go into some of the waste, but some of the waste is just astronomical. We spent $45 million in Afghanistan on a natural gas station. First problem is they have no cars that run on natural gas.
Oh, come on.
Then they have no money to pay to put the natural gas in, so we bought them cars that run on natural gas, and then we gave them a credit card to fill it up. But that's the kind of ridiculous stuff your government spends money on. We've got to do a better job.
What is it that these people watching, what is it they can do to help you?
They need to support constitutional conservatives like Kelly Ward. Thanks.
All right. And that was it. Gotta go. I got me a $250 a plate dinner to go to. Okay. Hey, Russ, did you go to the $250 a plate dinner? Did not. I'm not sure I've ever paid to go to a $250 a plate dinner. I can't imagine. And some of I've seen dinners at $5,000, $10,000. Hey, for 10 grand, 15 grand, you can get a picture with them too. I don't. Who would you spend? Let's say $25,000. Who would you spend $25,000 to meet and get a picture with? Trump, me, $25,000? No. I'm kind of like Jesus. If Jesus was coming out, and I get to have a quick pic, and maybe say hi and shake the Lord's hand. 25 grand, he's probably the limit for me. Not that I wouldn't spend more for Jesus. I'm just saying he's kind of it for me. But I don't know, for a politician, I don't know, I might spend $100. I might go $250 if it was good food. If they had like barbecue, see, that's the other thing. It's either really bad food, bad chicken, or a lousy steak, or seafood. I can't eat seafood. I'm allergic to it. So every time you want to do something fancy, it's seafood, and I'm out. I don't understand why seafood has got to be always fancy. Let's see here. Donald wouldn't spend a cent. Herman agrees with me. Jesus. Jesse says no one alive. George says we need more serious leaders, not lugubrious, but no clowns. That was a big word. I ain't even know it. Thank you for making me look stupid. George put in a big old word. Shanice says if Paul and others could get rid of Nancy Pelosi, maybe we could get some stuff done. Sharon says, I wish I had that kind of money. I'm with you. Donald said, I might pay for a Jesus pick, but he wouldn't make someone pay. Good point. Good point. Okay. Let's see here. Have you shared the video? Have you let people know about this? Have you shared the podcast? If you're not watching and you're listening, thank you very much, too. We really appreciate it. The podcast is at Apple Podcasts, on iTunes. Right in your phone, there's a podcast app. Really easy to find me. Just hit that podcast app if you've got an Apple, an iPhone, and search for me, Rusty Humphries. You'll find it. Subscribe. Listen to it every day. I would love it. There's also another app that I like if you've got a Android. It's called Radio Public, and it's pretty good. I've got nothing to do with them, but for apps, that one seems to be very graphically friendly and easy to use. So is the HearMeOut app, and that one's the most important one. That's very, very important. If you download the HearMeOut app on your iPhone or your Android and follow moi, Rusty Humphries, here on my witty repertoire, and you comment too. It's a great app, and I want to help build this app because they're good folks, and we can have an influence on this app as opposed to one we're on now and others. Okay, so go follow me, download it, and follow me. Rusty Humphries on the HearMeOut app. Glenn says, can you give me a shout out for my students' Stop Bullying campaign, Lost Dreams? Glenn Sutton, 26 years of service. You go. And you students, don't bully. Bully's bad. Bullying's bad. I don't like bullying. Kara says, bring your family and friends here every show, please. Spread conservatism. You are correct. That's why Kara rocks. Morgan checking in as always from Colorado. Tommy, keep interacting with like buttons. Push out that video. Yes, thank you. Donald says, you had a broadcast. I know it was hard to stay upbeat sometimes, but you got it, Rusty. Thank you, Donald. I appreciate it. That's it. May God bless you. May God bless America. I'm Rusty Humphries, and we'll see you next time right here on the Rusty Humphries Rebellion.